Throughout the last few months, I've been building AI apps endlessly, and here's my official vibe coding tier list of all of them. So first up, we have Framer, and Framer is more of a template-based vibe coding tool, meaning that you control all of the UI and animations the app actually has. And Framer does this really well because you have AI barely touching the front end, and this pretty much leads to no AI slop. And what Framer doesn't do well in is honestly its complexity in tasks. Like we all know it's not an app builder, meaning that you can't build a SaaS or do any complex tasks on it. And you're constantly just stuck in their environment and it's so hard to migrate out, which is why I'm going to put it in B tier. So next up we have Claude Code, and this is definitely going to be an S tier because this is honestly an industry leader and a bunch of big companies have already adopted to it and they use it in their everyday operations. Here's a little website of what I've built with it and what it's really capable of doing. It's honestly the best at reasoning, it's the best at just building complex tasks, and it understands your code base really well. A big knock that I have towards Claude Code would definitely be its API calls and how much tokens it actually takes, because you can easily burn through a single session with just a few prompts. So next up we have Lovable, and this would be the tool I would go to immediately if I wanted to validate a startup idea in a single weekend. It has ridiculously fast MVP designs. Its design guardrails are really good, so you can produce something really good in a one-shot prompt. Now, what Lovable doesn't do good in is definitely its complexity in tasks. When you're trying to ship something, you're constantly just trapped in one ecosystem, and it's super hard to escape it because there's not much you can do after building that first UI design, which is why I would put it in B tier. Next up, we have Codex, and Codex is really good with terminal and agent workflows, especially with its new model GPT 5.6 Soul, where it can deploy sub-agents for different parts of your task to actually achieve that desired outcome that you want. And what Codex does really well is understanding your little files in your code bases to actually achieve those little edits that you want in your site. Now, what Codex doesn't do so well in is its initial UI and UX design, because you have to prompt it a lot to actually get to something that you can literally ship. And that's why I would still put it in S tier. Then we have Cursor, and Cursor is probably the best AI native IDE out there. It's really good for autonomous and agent tasks, and it's super similar to VS Code, so that learning curve just isn't present. And that autocomplete tab feature is really good when trying to edit multiple files autonomously. Now, a huge problem that I have with Cursor would definitely be that it doesn't have its own model. It runs on different company models, and its own models like Composer, when you run out of credits from Grok 4.5, it's just not on the same scale and level as Codex or Claude Code, which is why I would put it in A tier. Now, Antigravity and Replit are both going to be in A tier because Antigravity simply can't handle the complexity in tasks compared to other models, and Gemini just isn't able to keep up to par. And same with Replit when it comes to actually designing those apps. They just can't keep up with the complexity of tasks. Now, Bolt, Base 44, and Emergent, these would all go in C tier because these are pretty much no-code tools built for beginners. They are pretty much just built to design dashboards and simple things that anyone can build. But the most important thing to understand here is to figure out which model to use when, because every model has its own strong suit, which is why applying different models at different points of your tasks is the absolute gold mine.